All right, we are recording.
We're live?
Give us the intro, Brandon.
All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Rap Thought Podcast, brought to you by Brandon, brought to you by Matthew. And I've got a special guest on this one. This is my little brother, like biologically my little brother, not, going there with like, oh, my little brother up on the track and all this shit. Yaboi Nilo, my little brother, Nial.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you made the trek over here.
Yeah, it was about, it took a minute, but, we got here.
Oh, yeah.
Got ready to do it?
No, it's great. I love having guests because I get sick of Brandon. I
feel it. That's funny.
But we've talked about, because we want to start doing episodes with local artists and everything.
Yeah.
But then when the pandemic hit,
right,
we only have one guest because
of
that.
And for listeners out there, this is not a pandemic podcast. We didn't start this because of the pandemic, like the rest of you fools. We came up with this before the pandemic.
Dude, man, put the peace away. It's not necessary.
I actually thought about making my own podcast just because of quarantine. So, right. I'm glad I didn't now that you just said that.
So now we're discouraging people. Matthew, let them be, dude. Let them be. But yeah, we started ours back, like it was the end of February, March, or it was mid-February, and then things happened.
Yeah. I think we had already put out a few episodes by the time pandemic.
We did. So we can say that we did do that. Everyone else is following, hating. So now you put out an album. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So Handle With Care.
Yep.
Short little album. It's about, I think it was 38 minutes or so.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. Each song was about like 2 minutes and like 30-something seconds long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dope album. Actually, I had no expectations. Brandon didn't tell me anything about you or what type of music you made.
Thank you.
So he just sent me the link, and I was like, oh shit, like this is dope. Because your lyrics are a little bit different. Like you're not just talking about bullshit. It's like, things that mean a lot to you or whatever.
Yeah, because like every song that I put on that like project, like every song, it meant something to me. Like it was a moment in time. Yeah. And that's like kind of where I got the idea for the album cover, because it's a Polaroid. Mm-hmm. And it's just, every song is like a snapshot of a moment in time from that March, from when I dropped it, from back when, I think it was when I graduated. It was like June, July.
Do you have a Polaroid for each track?
I did at one point, but I ended up giving them away. So like I had a pre-order for my album, and if you like showed proof that you pre-ordered it, I signed a Polaroid and I sent it to you with a handwritten letter.
That's dope. I like that a lot.
Dude, that's sick. I didn't know you did that.
So you can go on Spotify right now and listen to this album.
Yes.
Yaboi Nilo.
You should do that. So when we did,
it's on Apple too.
Yes, it's on all platforms. Okay. I don't know about YouTube, but we'll get it on there.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this album because when we did the freshman XXL cover, and so what we did was Matt and I both chose 3 artists from the cover, and then we kind of did like a light listen of everyone else. And so there wasn't, aside from, what's her name? I'm forgetting her name.
Mulatto?
No.
Chica?
Chica, thank you. Chica was my favorite and stood out from there. But I was like, dude, the rest of these people are kind of, to me, forgettable. I'm not really feeling them. And then I was listening to your album and I was like, why aren't you big? Like, why aren't you out here competing with these people? So, I mean, when I was listening to your stuff, I really thought your lyrics are all like you're talking about something, and it all actually is coherent. It makes sense. You got a couple metaphors in there. And it all just really it flows really well together. And so I was like, dude, little brother's got some bars.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So it was cool. It's a cool listen. I like how you go back and forth between like a little bit of singing, but then bringing some rap in there too. Kind of switches it up a little bit.
Yeah, bringing that melody and just a little bit like kind of that new style of, I jokingly call it the singy songy rappy style. That was my.
I feel that.
I
Yeah.
came up with it.
It's like that.
I don't know how else to describe it, because it's not totally singing. It's not rapping.
It's really common now, like with like most music.
Right.
But it is what it is,
Yeah. But did that draw you to making music like that? Like listening to new artists? Did you really like appreciate that style of music, and you're like, okay, I want to do this kind, or it just was natural to you?
Yes and no, because like I did like listening to everyone else's like music the way they did it, and when I tried doing it, I felt it was a lot easier to me to do that than to just rap or just do like sing, because like I feel like I can do both at the same time.
Right.
And so like seeing everyone else doing it is very inspiring to kind of try it yourself and then try to be good at something, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So the question, one of the things we were talking about when we did the XXL cover is on the other side of what you were saying. When you have people that are sounding similar, how do you stand out above everyone else? Like, it is encouraging to hear people, because it's like a hot style right now and it's working.
Right.
But
Yeah, that was I think that was one of our biggest, not complaints, but critiques of all the artists on that freshman cover was they all have a very similar style. There wasn't too many of them that really stood out, and they're different. Like I don't know when it was, like 2 years ago when Anderson .Paak was on it. Like, he definitely stood out. You know, he had his own style. He wasn't kind of doing the new style. He had his own thing going on. Like, he does sing and rap, but it's more R&B based.
Right.
Whereas I feel like these newer artists, they're not singing in an R&B style. It's more, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a different style.
No, I get it. I mean, I feel like the only way to set yourself different from like everyone else, it's more than just the music itself. I mean, it is the music, but it's the production behind it, like the thought process behind like what you're talking about, like the subject matter. So it's like, I know that a lot of the people on XXL, they have the same subject matter of like, you know, how they grew up, and like they grew up in, you know, poverty or whatnot, and stuff like that. And like, that's not a bad thing. It's just that I feel like where I set myself differently is that, you know, everything I say is legit fact. Like, everything I say is a moment where I've actually experienced it, like I felt it, you know?
Right.
But, and that's kind of contradicting, I guess, in a sense. But there's more to it than, you know, I guess, the struggles of life. Because there's a lot more than the struggles of life, you know?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And that's what I want to like share that to the people that listen to my music, is that there's a lot to it. Like there's a lot more to it than just the struggles. You know, there's
absolutely.
That makes sense. Sorry.
That's only one side to life, or one,
Yeah.
you know, one aspect to it. There's so many more. There's the highs and the lows.
Right.
You know, and some artists only focus on one side of it. They'll focus on just the highs of actually getting high or having lots of girls, money, and you know, they only focus on the highs, or they focus on the lows of the tribulations of being a drug dealer or in the trap. You know what I mean? So it's you got to find the in between space sometimes.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I feel like I'm not doing like really good at it. I don't want to say like I'm not doing really good at it. That's actually kind of bad to say, but it's like
no,
I'm trying.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. No, you're on that path. That's like you're just on the path.
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna ask was, you know, the other thing I feel that sets you apart is that the bars in a lot of these new artists, they aren't as in depth and they aren't as what, like it's very basic stuff. I feel.
Right.
You find two words and then you make them rhyme. You put them in a sentence and make it go together, which I guess in a nutshell is what music is. But I feel like yours, I'm trying to remember, it was in one of the first, it was either the second or the third track that you had said. I should have wrote down the lines, but I just thought it was cool because like it followed up well, and it, like you stayed on track the entire time, where a lot of people just jump around a lot. So with your album and then just putting music out there in general, it looked like you got some attention from other local artists as well, with X and the remix and getting I Am Sue on there.
Yeah.
Chat about that, dude. How'd you get noticed?
All right, so I Am Sue has been one of my favorite rappers since that was like middle school. And so one of the things that I really wanted to do was just get his attention some way, somehow. And I actually have a friend who is connected to him because he's his videographer. But that still doesn't really say that like, oh, like, you know, he would just do it just because I know him.
Right.
It was still like I had to be noticed by this person.
Right.
So with that being said, like he dropped a single and I ended up doing like a remix to it, and that was the third music video I dropped, which was the San Pablo remix. And I sent it to him, and I just kept sending it to him, and then he saw it, and then he actually texted my friend Will, and that's the guy. And then he said that like, oh, like this is good work, like, you know, good job. I give it like I think he said like a B+, A-.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, this is pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
And so where things kind of got different, like kind of like with everything, like with COVID and stuff like that, I was asked to meet with him like for like a music video. Not meet with him, but he wanted someone to be there, and I was there, and I met him, and it was pretty cool. But I don't think he really knew that it was me, that I was the person sending him all this stuff and whatnot.
Oh shit.
And so where it kind of clicked was that I was with my friend. His name is 03. That's Hennick. We're just thinking one day, like it's quarantine. It's like we might as well shoot our shot, you know. And so we did through Will, and he said, you know, I'll do it. Like, you know, I see the work you guys, I see what you guys do for me, and I really appreciate it. So I got you guys on this one, and that was just one night, and it was the best feeling ever.
So he got you as in like he's not going to charge you for anything, like he,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep. And so he said that he would do it, and that was cool. But then it was literally like the next day he sent it back.
Oh, he followed through.
Yeah, and then
Dude, usually because you hear stories all the time. Sometimes it takes them months, or they just don't even respond.
He sent it back the next day, and that was like, I remember crying that day because I was getting my friend dropped me off Chick-fil-A, and I was crying when I went out to go get it because like it just happened just before that, and it was like the best feeling.
Damn. That's dope.
Yeah.
Now you just got to get more of those. Now you're gonna be hungry to
Exactly.
get the next one.
And that's what it's been ever since. It's like, what's the next big thing that I can do?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's super cool. So, and I wanted to ask, with your album, Handle with Care, what was the meaning behind that title? I feel like it's ambiguous. I don't know. But I wanted to ask.
So with the album, I plan on dropping it in February. Actually, it was on Valentine's Day, and it's not really like a love like album. It's more of like I would say it's about more like heartbreaks and like kind of sad moments, but then happy moments. You know.
I would say there's a lot of that on there.
And these are all like heartfelt lyrics that like I'm putting into it. So then I just thought to myself like, man, you know, I'm really pouring out like my emotions, like good and bad, and you know, like you have to handle with care, you know?
Right.
And that was just like the first thing that just came to mind as soon as I kind of listened to it all the way through.
Oh, so you came up with the title after you had finished the album? You know,
Yeah, I didn't, like, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about making an album until I had at least 6 or 7 of the songs done.
Gotcha.
It was
So you're just
like,
making
you know,
songs to make
Yeah.
them, and you're like, okay, I'm getting an idea for what this could be.
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah.
How many tracks do you have recorded in general? Because I remember when we did Logic, in one of the interludes, I forget her name, but she mentions how he has like 1,200 plus songs recorded, but only so many of them have been released to the public. How many have you done, if you guesstimate that you've recorded?
Completed songs, I would say not very many.
Right.
But on my computer, I know I have at least 60 or 70 files. It's not a lot, but
Right,
you know.
just like demos and things like that.
Yeah, but like most of them are. I mean, not most of them, but like some of them are finished. Like they're finished. Like I could put it out, but it's not like finished to the point where I'm like, I'm comfortable with this. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Word. Yeah. Do you have anything in the works right now? Are you wanting to drop another one pretty soon, or are you kind of just hanging back, waiting for some inspiration?
So I actually have a collab album, another one, which I probably shouldn't be doing back to back. But anyways, I have another one with my friend 03, which is Hennick. Me and him have just been going at it in the studio like at least once a week. And, you know, these are 8-hour days, just straight going in.
Wow.
And I'm really excited for that. We have a single dropping fairly soon. It should be by the end of October, it should be out. I personally have a song called Nike that I'm dropping within the next 2 weeks.
Oh shit.
So.
Hell yes. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll be
you.
looking out. But yeah, man, I mean, it's cool to, I have a little brother that's doing things and everything.
Yeah,
So
it's great. You're living Brandon's dream right now. So he's living vicariously through you.
dude, I got bars though. So he won't
let
me get on.
Brandon ghostwrite for you.
Yeah, this is
I mean, hey, I'm down for that.
for the ghostwriter.
I would love
Either
to
or.
hear Brandon ghostwrite. I would love to see that.
to get me to
I want you to ghostwrite a song for him.
dude. I don't know.
I want to see what you can come up with.
I was thinking about asking you jokingly if you have a ghostwriter, but I know you don't.
I don't. I actually asked one of my friends because my friend, I think he's a good rapper, like a good lyricist, but a lot of people just don't like his music. I was like, hey, like just write me a song and like we'll
Right.
see how it goes.
Yeah.
And he never did, but he started it. He just never,
See, that's where Brandon comes in.
Yeah, so that's where you got to come in and be like, hey,
Dude, let me get on the track. I've been saying it. I can hold it over. He's like, hey, man, you're on the podcast, so I don't know when I'm getting on this track, but so I can
I'll
hold
put you
that
on
over.
one.
Good. So look out for us. We coming out. Some
Dude,
point. Drop a track.
I'm excited for that.
Brandon and Nilo.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
No, Brandon, what's your rap name?
Dude, I'll probably go. My mom always called me obtuse because of the way that, like, so that'd probably be my name right now.
Yo, that's
Chris
great.
and Nilo, that's so fun. Yeah.
Yo, that's a great rap name.
Yeah, she
That's
doesn't,
funny.
because, like, I frustrate her with how I
Right.
think, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably use that, be my moniker.
Yeah.
And I'll
Your mom
probably
and I
say-
have a lot in common.
Your what?
You said your mom and I have a lot in common.
I mean, you've met my mom, like, once. Your dad.
No, I've met her plenty of times. I'm saying we have a lot in common because you annoy her and then you annoy me. So
My mom loves me. I'm her favorite child. Are you your dad's favorite child? Probably not. I don't know for sure. Are you your mom's favorite child? Probably
No.
not.
Yeah,
But
I am.
probably. I can say for sure that I am my mom's favorite. So that's the difference. But yeah, man, we'll be looking out for some new tracks and some new music. But I'm glad we got to cover that a little bit. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to your stuff, but
No.
okay.
all right, let's get right into it.
So we're getting into Astroworld by Travis Scott.
Yes.
So we're doing that. So it was on the list. I'm gonna give a little background. So I don't know. It's one of like the new. I've been looking for like newer artists that I kind of want to get into.
That you may have skipped over or just never got around to.
Kind of get a fine tooth comb through them. And so when, I guess another background story, so I actually, Niall's my little brother biologically, I actually just met him for the first time 2 years ago. So when I was hanging out with him and Gabriella,
Yep.
Kyron, I guess you could say Beatrice, wasn't really there. But I remember you guys were talking about Travis Scott a little bit. And so, like, the only track I could think of was Sicko Mode. So I brought
Yeah,
that up.
so,
And I was like, yo, like, I don't know about Sicko Mode. Like, the first 30 seconds is a dope beat, and then it just drops you off on this all right beat. And then it ends on this, like, what beat. And I remember Kyron was just like, yo, it's a roller coaster. That's what it's supposed to do. And I was
Yes.
like,
You're on a
okay.
sicko mode roller coaster.
This kind of thing. But then when I saw the album and it looks like an amusement park, I was like, okay, all right, Kyron. But that's kind of like I guess with me going in, I was kind of looking at like what this roller coaster of a thing would be.
Right.
So the thing that I think about is Kendrick Lamar and how in Damn he had a lot of beat changes in the
Yeah.
end and stuff. So I haven't heard any other artists do it quite like Travis Scott. So I was like, okay, it is kind of like
Yeah. So, Nilo, what's your introduction to Travis Scott? Like, when did you first get into him? Or when did you even first hear about him?
Man, I think it was about 2015.
Yeah, when he first started coming out.
Yeah, and cause like it's just hearing it from, it's from hearing it from other people. They're like, oh, this rodeo and stuff like that. But it's like I was never into his music. I never even listened to it. I was more of like at that point I was like a Drake fan, like Lil Wayne and stuff like that, and I still like them. But I've never listened to Travis. And the time where the first time I heard him was when it was, what was the album that Drake dropped? It was
Scorpion.
no, it was If You're Reading This It's Too Late. And he had a song with Travis on it called Company. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, like I really like this.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I've been like almost obsessed.
Yeah.
So-
So like, all right, this is my
This is-
artist.
yeah.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah, I'm kind of similar to Brandon, where like I always heard his name, heard him around, but I never listened to any of his projects. I'm sure I've heard him on features or whatever. And yeah, he would anytime I looked at like hip hop, websites or on Twitter or whatever, Travis Scott gets mentioned a lot. And I think for me, I knew he would be a different style because I knew he did a lot of auto-tune.
Yeah.
And that always kind of turned me off from like really like giving him a full listen and just wasn't my style of music that I usually listen to.
That's like a lot of people. Sorry.
Yeah, so I just never had the motivation or like never was curious to check him out. I was just like, oh, that's Travis Scott. That's like the new style or whatever. That's just not my jam.
I kind of saw him as like at the forefront of what this new
like
style
the trap
was.
style.
And so like with this, I was like, I'm interested to see what that's all about. Now that there's, I'm not gonna. To me, it was looking like the face. He probably wasn't the actual face, but I was like, okay, like his name is popping up quite a bit. I'm kind of interested to see what it's all about.
And probably the only song that I've listened to quite a bit that he's on is the song he's on SZA's album,
Love Galore.
Yeah. I like that. I love that song, but then like I just never really got into his verse. I was like, oh man, I wish it was just SZA on this.
Yeah.
But he comes in and I'm like, it's not really my style. But after listening to this album, I definitely got an appreciation for the type of music that he makes. When he's doing his own sound, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It works. And from what I've like kind of gathered and learned about it is he does a lot of the production, maybe not in terms of the beat making, but he definitely has a hand in the type of music that he's making. He's part of it. He doesn't just give me that beat, give me that beat. Like he's part of the production of the album.
I think another part. Oh, my bad. I think another part that makes him interesting. His name is funny. Jacques Bourbon Webster II. So born April 30th, 1991. So he's closer to us in age than he is you. Yeah. But it's funny how his music is closer to yours than it is ours.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I found that pretty interesting. But I don't know. Like I think kind of similar to Matt. Like I have an appreciation for him. I don't know if he'll end up in my rotation quite yet, but I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely an interesting artist. Like he works with all of the top artists. I mean, just looking at the credits on this album,
the production was crazy.
He's got everyone on here.
I mean,
it's insane. I did not expect to see like Pharrell, Stevie Wonder. You got Tame Impala. It's a crazy lineup.
And John Mayer.
And
we were talking about that in the car, and I was like, that's some respect
Hit
to have
Boy,
people on there.
Like he's got a lot of crazy people on here, and that a lot of it, like when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, he just has a shit ton of money, and he's on a big label, so they can get all these artists.
Right.
He has the budget for it to get this amazing production. So for me, it's like, damn, like imagine a lesser known artist having access to this budget and being able to use all these producers to help you create. But then as I listened more and I learned more, like he is part of the production.
Right.
Travis Scott has a hand in it, which definitely I have a lot of respect for. Like, you know what I mean? Like he knows the sound he wants to make.
Have you seen his documentary on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
So he has a documentary that he came out with, I think it was a year ago, and it's called Look Mom, I Could Fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back from 2015, 2016 to like just after Astroworld and stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see like it's more of like his life. And I know a lot of people who didn't like Travis, and like after seeing it, they have like a lot more like respect for like everything that he does.
Yeah.
It's like it's more of like the feeling that he brings like with his music and with his appearance, and it really shows that in the movie.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I think he mentioned somewhere that he likes to say he doesn't even make hip hop. Like he's doing something different than just a hip hop album. Like it's beyond that.
I mean, it very much is true, because the music itself, like even if he says nothing on the beat, it does not compare to a lot of the rappers. Like today it's just like a straightforward like this is a beat.
Right.
But Travis's music, especially on Astroworld, it explains a story. It's just like there's so much going to it at once, and there's so much like you don't know what direction it's going to go in, and that's that's probably one of my favorite things about this album.
So I think that's a good segue to jump in because like there's so many more things. I'm glad I was telling Matt, like aside from just spending time with my brother, like I'm looking forward to this pod to 'cause my viewpoint isn't going to be as in depth, face value. I'll admit that now, but like you really have a liking for him, and that'll bring a totally different perspective.
Well, and I'm sure you've been listening to this since it came out.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have a lot more to say about it because you've heard it so many times.
Yeah.
But I want it, and with that, like I want to follow that note of like it follows a story that like goes deeper and everything. So we'll start off. First song is Stargazing.
Right.
I don't have to tell you that. Actually, you start us off. What do you get from Stargazing? What is that track?
So like when I first heard it, I heard it through like a leak. Like he was performing at like his concert and stuff like that. But for me, like that whole song just gives me chills because I was gonna tell you this earlier.
Is this the secret?
Yeah, so this is the secret that I kind of been holding. This was November last year, November 9th. It was actually November 8th. I hopped on a flight and I went straight to Houston for a Travis Scott concert. It was for his festival, and that was the best thing I've probably ever done.
Did you go by yourself?
I went with one of my friends.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, like, as soon as I got to the Airbnb, my mom calls, is like, hey, where are you? I'm like, oh, yeah, like, I'm in Houston.
Yeah. She didn't know you left?
No, and I told her before, I'm like, I might go to Houston for this concert. She was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But she called me, she was like, why are you in Houston? I'm like, Travis. She was like, oh. All right. She's like, are you safe? I'm like, yeah, like, I'm doing pretty good. But, yeah, but I've seen him in concert several times, and Stargazing is just, it's an emotional feeling for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just like...
Oh, yeah. After listening to this, I could totally see how this album was made for being live, like performed live. It's meant to be performed.
Yeah.
Live. I could totally see that.
It's like, I don't know, it's just the feeling of it when I first heard it, like when the album came out, it's like, this is the start to something I know that's going to be great. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it was. As it was a really good intro, the beat switch on it, you know, it had me the first time, like I didn't really care for it, but I don't know, it's just a level of respect that you have for it, like from then to now.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting perspective for sure. What I got from it was like, it lyrically, like he's talking about kind of being high off perp and kind of feeling the effects of being high or whatever and just kind of stargazing. The other thing I got out of that too, though, was that like, wow, I have this new platform and I'm up top right now. I've come up a long way, and it's like so stargazing is in being high and just kind of zoning out, but then also stargazing is in being like basking in the moment of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was like, okay, stargazing, that's a cool title name for all of that. That's cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the beat, like just not the beat, but just the sound of it. It starts off very spacey and almost ambient, and then with the beat switch, it's a little bit harder to beat, and he comes in rapping. So I like that, like you say, it's like a journey. Like you're starting off, you're probably this is the intro. You walk into the park, the amusement park, and you go on your first ride, and it's like gearing you up for the rest of the day at the amusement park. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, I felt a lot of that. I really liked the track better after the beat switch, but I think I could see in concert that being totally dope.
Right.
Like,
It just it segues you into it. You know what I mean? Like you don't just go on the tallest roller coaster when you walk into the park. You know what I mean? You go on a smaller ride just to warm up.
And then you have this banger that just comes in and it just kind of takes you through. And I thought that was cool. I thought some lines that were interesting were, I see you picked up all my ways, I feel responsible. And I was kind of thinking about like people that he influences and how maybe they're doing it the wrong way. So he's like, like I think of Eminem, where it's like people start stabbing their girlfriends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, like I feel responsible for that. That sucks. Eminem doesn't care, but so I kind of thought a little bit about that too.
Yeah, I think for these lines, got new money, got new problems, got new enemies. When you make it to the top, that's the amenities. Packing out Toyota like I'm in the league, and it ain't a mosh pit if ain't no injuries. I feel like those lines kind of, especially the first two, they kind of sum up the whole album, where it's, he's reached this point in his career where like he's blown up and he's famous and he has money, but also he has new problems. He has to, you know, and that's a running theme throughout the whole album, especially when you get into other songs like, you know, You're Not a God, like just dealing with fame, dealing with the pressure, and then dealing with dating someone like a Kardashian and what that does to your mental side of you, like how you operate and how you deal with people in general when you're that famous and you're that successful. And then incorporated in that is a lot of drug use. You know, it feels like the way he copes with it is with all those drugs, and that's how he deals with it.
I don't know if I could save this for the end, but one of the things that is funny is like as I would read the lyrics, I'd be on Genius and it has annotations on the side for what the lyrics mean. And so I'd be reading something, like one of them was, feels like the life I need is a little distant, yeah. And then it's like, okay. And then like the annotation would give you like this in-depth thing of like,
How did you get all of that?
he's ruminating on the life he lives and only to express the distance from the life he needs. And I was like, how did you, I guess you can't see facial expressions over voice, but so there was stuff like that where throughout the album, there'd be a line and it's like, okay, like I get it, but then they'd go like deep on it. So I guess that would be one of my critiques going forward. And so, before I skip on to the next one, it was cool. This track, it went platinum in 2018. Saw that. Carousel. I saw a lot of, through the beginning of tracks, in this, I'll go into it. Like, he pulls up to the hotel, goes to bed, gets up, bangs someone out, gets ready to take the stage or something over or whatever. But then you have these lines that, like, as I was saying, they go in depth. So my question for you would be like, it made me feel like I was missing something from this album, that it was deeper than I anticipated and what I was reading. So that's why I'm saying when I look at this album for face value, that's what I'm getting. But then other people are saying like deeper shit.
I think there is deeper stuff, but I think the way he does his lyrics and the way he makes his music is it's not very, it's not like a tons of metaphors, and he's not making you read the lines and try to like decipher them. It's more of like the overall feeling that you get from listening to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not looking at the lyrics and like, okay, this was a metaphor for this, and then this actually means this. It's not really like that. It's like very simple lyrics, but if you take it in totality, it's like a feeling that you get from listening to it.
So now, would you say, is this album for you? Because like when you were describing stargazing, you were talking about like how it feels, when you're also referring back to when you actually went to the concert, how it felt. Do you get vibes more from this album than you do get things out of lyrics, I guess? Like talk about it's like your experience with the album, the tracks.
I know that, I'm not going to come to this album if I need something like very lyrical. Like I just know that from like the jump.
Right.
But I also know that listening to it for like the first time all the way through, it meant a lot more, like trying to really figure it out. It meant a lot more to me like than it does now. Like I look at every song like a good song. But like before, I couldn't really understand what he was doing, because I felt like there's connections with like songs and they connect with each other. Mm-hmm. But there's also songs that kind of just stand out, and it's like, why are they here? And it's like, I never really understood that. Like, for example, it is NC-17, Astro Thunder, and there's one song, I forgot it. What's it? How did I forget that?
I'm sure we'll probably get to it too.
It was NC-17, Astro Thunder, and
Yosemite?
It wasn't Yosemite. It was before Astro Thunder. There's 2 songs before Astro Thunder.
5% Tent.
5% Tent. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So it's like 5% Tent. I took that as like, these are his things. Like, these are his paranoias. Like, this is what he doesn't want, right? Mm-hmm. NC-17 is like the stuff that he does want, right? And then Astro Thunder is this like what he needs. And that's where it comes to like when you're saying like, feels like the life I feel is a little different, like a little distant. And that's because this is what he needs rather than, what he wants or what he doesn't want.
Right.
Man, Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like the difference between, what you need to survive and what are your what do you call that? Like your, not demons, but like your desires, or like things that you crave but aren't necessarily good for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and even in Carousel, going back to that, he says, all my demons invading, I live paranoid, hesitating. And that is a theme throughout the whole album, is being paranoid and like trying to, deal with the demons he has inside of him.
Right.
What to do. And Carousel, for me, obviously a carousel goes around in a circle, right? So this song is about him going round and round, doing drugs to get away from his problems. But when he does his drugs, he gets paranoid and then he creates new problems. So it's like he just keeps going round and round in the same circle and he can't really get out of it. And he's kind of just stuck in this place where, when he gets sober, he still has issues of being famous and dealing with people. But then when he does drugs, he gets paranoid and he thinks people are against him or whatever. So it's like a never-ending carousel.
Exactly.
That all makes sense, but I feel like people are inserting that into it because it's like the line that I used earlier is like that's only one part of the song. So like if you have
it's one line. The rest of it is not necessarily related to that.
But that's my point though, is that like if let's say you're looking at a 24 bar verse. And bar number 18 is like where it's all this deep stuff. How am I supposed to know to take that over the other 23 bars? So that's where I think I got lost.
Right.
In reference,
you got lost in the sauce.
Sure, Matthew. Yeah, I got lost. So, because then there's other things that kind of throw me off. Maybe it's because I don't know like the lingo and everything. But like there's a one where it says landing downwind, caught 2 wings, talon scrape, hit the stage, 2 wings. Better pray, 2 wings. And it's like, what is that? What does that mean?
Say it again.
Landing downwind, caught 2 wings. Talon scrape, hit the stage, 2 wings. Better pray, 2 wings. So like that stuff, like there's a lot of that for me in this album that goes over my head. But then I like with the whole, if you're talking carousel, going round and round and whatnot, I did like the line, new growth. All these fades I outgrew. Like that makes sense to me. It's like, okay, it's just metaphorically saying that there's a lot of stuff that you went through, but you outgrew it, obviously.
Right.
So, but that's cool.
Yeah. And then going to next track, Sicko Mode. For me, like I always heard about this song. It's such a big song, and I always heard people talk about it. I've never listened to it before. Everyone would reference it anytime I'm like on hip hop Twitter or whatever. Like people reference Sicko Mode. And then like I listened to it, and when the first time I listened to it, I was kind of like let down a little bit. I was like, man, I thought this was gonna be like a huge banger, like crazy song, and it was just like, oh, this is cool, like I get it. And I think for me, the main thing is Drake's flow gets really old for me. It's just like the same flow every time, and I know why he does it. He sets up the bars to hit. He sets up like whatever he's saying. He does it in a way where when he says a clever line, it hits hard.
Right.
He wants you to hear every single line and pay attention to it. But for me, I get kind of like bored with it. I'm like, okay, do something different. Like do a different flow or change it up a little bit. But the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. After I listened to it like 3 or 4 times, I was like, okay, this is a cool song.
I'm not even gonna lie. When I first heard it, I did not like Drake on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I just didn't, because it's like this dude is just on a song now at this point, and
Right.
it's like
Right, it's a
okay,
stimulus package.
yeah. So it's like what's I mean, and
That's a real thing. That's what they call it. Whenever Drake's on a song, they call it a
It's-
stimulus package.
And I knew as soon as I heard Drake, like he said Astro in the beginning, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, this is the song that Travis and Drake are literally just putting in their hands and throwing it to the ceiling. Like this is gonna be the banger of the album, and
Right.
that's exactly what it was.
Right. Yeah, the beat switch is cool. I liked, and I like that there's 3 parts to it.
Yeah.
And then that was one thing that I got from this album, and why I respect Travis Scott after listening to this, is that it's not a formulaic album. There's nothing formulaic about these songs, because the choruses are all over the place. Sometimes the chorus repeats like many times. It's not just verse, chorus, verse, and like he mixes it up. It's different every time. And then like with this song, there's 3 parts to it. There's 3 beat changes. So I like that diversity, that he's doing something different with the songs.
But that's the thing. So I mean, I know with Sicko Mode, it's in reference to a song that they did a couple years back, and it's just kind of like this mode that they're in when they do work. And so, I mean, that's the thing is like some of his tracks, they'll be titled a certain way, and then it's discussing something completely different. So like Travis opens up with making it a show, making it to his show, taking back roads to get there, getting fucked up before and after, and then also just being iced out and stuff like that. So I was like, okay.
I can't relate to that.
And then the last bar, he's talking about how, in reference to the ice and the chains and everything, how like crackers wish that it was a noose, using his lyrics. I'm not racist. But like, and then insinuating jealousy from the success. And I was like, okay, like that's interesting, but like to me, just kind of thrown in there.
Right.
So it didn't really fit with me for the song. I feel like the deepest part came from them talking about playing for keeps, don't play us for weak. That was another annotation that went like really in depth.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. I just, especially like Drake's part, I don't think there's a lot to read into, you know, and he's talking about taking a Xanax or whatever on a plane.
Yeah.
So he gets
to
there,
stay up and,
you know,
then drive.
yeah.
Stay up on the flight.
Out like a
drive.
light. You know, but that I could see that working in a concert.
Yeah.
With everyone saying the words together, like the whole audience is rapping that. He probably turns the mic off and lets the audience rap it. Like I could see him doing that.
I personally don't feel like there's a point to that song other than this.
Yeah.
This is something that I know people are gonna turn up to, you know.
Right.
And that kind of goes back to Carousel, and it's like even though that, you know, it may seem like it has some like meaning to it, and to be honest with you, there probably might be, but I know that, you know, I just think that those 2 songs are just there, so like, you know,
Like filler tracks.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, if you got to have a Drake song on here, you know what I mean? Of
course.
Yeah. You know, that's how you get the #1 song. So going next to R.I.P. Screw, I love this beat. I thought it was fire. I like that it slowed down a little bit. And it's paying homage to DJ Screw. He's a Houston DJ, and he kind of did that like chopped and screwed sound where it's like slowed down and does different things to it. So I like that style. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, passed away from a codeine overdose.
Right. Yeah, and but like that's the thing with artists promoting drug use like that, and then other artists like Mac Miller, DJ Screw, like, you know, they die from it. It's like, how do you feel about doing that? Like making that type of music when it's hurting people or like influencing people in a way. It's a fine line. Like I don't judge them. I don't think they're doing anything wrong, but I wonder if they think about that.
Thank you.
When they're making their music.
That's a wonder. I think it's a good point too. But I mean, because when you were first talking, I was like, oh, you know, I mean, it's paying homage to what he brought to the game and everything else. But yeah, if you're talking about the same stuff that the people you looked up to passed away, like how are people going to interpret that? But
right.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's what this whole track is about, just paying homage to DJ Screw.
I think I would have liked this a lot more if there was less auto-tune. It was like too much for me on this one. I don't know why, but it like distracts me from the song. I'm just like,
I can understand that.
Yeah. Oh man, more auto-tune. Like, dude, he's got a good voice. I don't think he needs it.
I think that I think he does have a good voice, but the way that he uses it is kind of different than, you know, the way other people use it.
Yeah, he goes in and out of it a lot.
Yeah, and like he uses his auto-tune like an instrument. Like if you hear like in the background of his songs, like he's just kind of going.
He's
crazy.
Harmonizing with it, and a lot of ad libs will be with auto-tune.
And it's a lot different. It's not a lot different, but it's a little different than, you know, let's say like Migos. Like it's different from how they use it, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think that definitely makes Travis Scott a little bit more unique. And that's why I say like I like his production, because I know he has a hand and he knows what he's doing. Like he has an idea in his head and he's making it happen. He's not relying on other people for that.
Track 5, Stop Trying to Be God. I was kind of mixed when I first heard this one. I enjoyed the track, but I was kind of like, who are you talking to when I was first listening to it? And then I felt like it conflicted here and there. because like there wasn't like a clear audience that I thought he was talking to. But like there are lines like when he talks about like diamonds are the wife of life, but then fuck the money and don't leave your people behind. I thought that part was cool. Of just tells me that it's about putting his people first.
Right. I feel like he was talking to himself. Like he's trying to like he's giving himself a pep talk. Like stop trying to be God. Like you're still just a regular dude.
That's the thing is like I could see it like for himself, and I was like, are you also talking to like giving game to other people as well too?
Probably both.
And so
he's probably trying to accomplish both with this message. I mean, it's a stronger message that we have on the album, but the thing is, I don't think he could be talking to all of us, to us, the listeners, because we can't really relate to that, to what he's talking about you having so much fame and success, and so many people are looking up to you. It's like we can't relate to that. We don't have that experience. So, but it does make for an interesting song of what he's going through.
So like when I went to go see him in Oakland, this was, I don't know if you remember what had happened with Kanye and Drake, and how Kanye was mad that Drake said something about checks over stripes, and kind of dissing Kanye.
Wasn't that the concert where he found out that Kim had been robbed in Paris and he left the concert?
It wasn't that one.
Okay.
But this is December 2018.
Okay.
And I know that just before the concert, it was either like a day or maybe the day of, I'm not sure. Kanye and Travis had a talk because Kanye tweeted something like, I got to talk to Travis about this and whatnot.
Right.
And when Travis was performing that song, it seemed like he was talking to, like he was singing it like to Kanye when Kanye wasn't even there.
Oh, shit.
Because like it's like the way he said something, he said like, I told my homie earlier, like,
right.
Stop trying to be God. And it makes sense that way.
Right.
But I do feel like it could be, to himself as well.
Yeah. Well, because I think when you're at that point in stardom and fame, you're going to experience that moment of having a God complex. And whether it's for a short time or a long time, whatever, I'm sure all of them experience that. And then, so maybe he was inspired by Kanye to write this, like against Kanye, but then he probably realized like, oh shit, like I might be going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, but I love that he made that into a song. It's cool that he could take a moment like that and make it into a song.
Mm-hmm. When I heard that, because on Spotify it doesn't show all the features. When I heard the harmonica, I was like, man, that's some Stevie Wonder.
That's a Stevie Wonder
That's Stevie Wonder.
Dude, that show's dope.
Later on, reading the lyrics, I was like, dude, hell yeah, that's Stevie Wonder. That's like, we were talking in the car, like, if there's a harmonic on there, it's always going to be Stevie Wonder. Mm-hmm. You can't have anyone else on there.
No, it was dope. Yeah. It's a good song. It's catchy. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good sounding track. No Bystanders, number 6.
I thought there were some funny lines in this one.
Yeah.
Dude, when he says, I told her it's BYOB, that means buy your own boobs.
Yeah.
That shit was funny.
I think I thought it was funny too. I thought it's like definitely sending a message, like you can be here, but like I'm not trying to support you and do all this stuff for you and buy your own.
Well, that's why he picked a Kardashian, so he doesn't have to. She can buy her own.
Yeah, she can. She can buy a lot more than that. But I don't know. I kind of got, I guess, like to kind of touch on a little bit before, like I like stuff that's very explicit. I don't want to have to use my imagination of what I think they're talking about. But what I got from this one was, though, like from lines like, gotta move on the ops, devil got the move on the drop. I like that because it's like, I gotta stay moving because people are plotting against me. Mm-hmm. Devil's always in my corner, steering me the wrong way, stuff like that. But I also thought like no bystanders is in, I don't want groupies over here. I don't want people in my ear steering me the wrong way. I don't want people just scheming on them. And I think this is the track where maybe it's not, where there's like someone knocking on my window. No, that's tin. That's 5% tin, my bad. So, but that's what I got with that. And then Chance fucked the club up, and I was like, but what does that mean though? If that's what I'm drawing from that, why is that repeated? That chorus is repeated, I think, 3 times, and so it's like, well, what's the message behind that? If that's what I'm trying to get from the title, so
what I took from it was more of like, this is like And I play this song like a lot because this is like a song I play like when I need to get into like a mood. Yeah. And this is like the move out of my way mood. Like this is like, you know, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do, and you're not gonna be in my way because I'm going to make sure you're not in my way. You know, this is just, you know, it's kind of like I do whatever I want. I know what I'm doing type of vibe. You know.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely get that feeling. And I think that's a lot of what these songs are. It's like it puts you into a vibe or a mood, and it'll motivate you, or it'll make you think about something. Not necessarily, you know, just about the lyrics, where Brandon's trying to decipher the lyrics, but it's not always about that.
Yeah, and I have to, you know, at least for this artist, that's something that I have to tweak. But that's my my frame of mind, though, for sure. But I mean, as you were talking about, you know, kind of that mood, and I'm thinking about the lines "fuck the club up," that actually makes a lot of sense, because if you don't want any bystanders, and it's like, I'm just going to continue doing my own thing regardless. I don't really care. I'm going to do my own thing. Right. So I guess that makes a lot of sense. But that's what the pod's about. I learned from this at the same time.
Exactly.
So, Skeletons.
Yeah, produced by Tame Impala. Yes. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, what? Yeah, Tame Impala worked with Travis Scott?
Yeah, I went to go listen to that again. I was like, what do you mean Tame Impala did that? So,
do you listen to Tame Impala?
I know the one song that they do, Same Person, New Mistakes, or whatever it was. I know that track.
Do you listen to them?
I actually started listening to them about a year ago. Okay. So I've been kind of up to date with them.
The new album he just put out is dope.
I actually haven't listened to that one.
It's dope.
I was up to
I like
date.
it a lot. No, I actually just got into him recently too.
You did?
Maybe like last year, same. But and then you go back and realize like he's worked with so many people in the last few years.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. And he's like this like regular looking white dude from Australia. Like you would never think that he's making these crazy beats.
So like I'm confused. Is Tame Impala? Is it just the one guy?
It's one guy, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's one guy, Kevin Parker. But when he performs, he's with a band.
Got it. And that's.
But he produces everything, so he makes all the music. But obviously, you can't play all the music live. So when they put Tame Impala is also the band when they perform.
Got it.
Yeah.
Word. My bad. It was new person, same old mistakes. But I used to hear that. My old coworker, hi Robbie, used to be on his rotation.
Yeah, shout out to Robbie.
So I like that song a lot, but I haven't heard it.
Yeah. So this also has The Weeknd on it and Pharrell Williams. Yes. Like that's fucking crazy.
If I remember right, Matt, you like The Weeknd.
I liked his first mixtape, whatever.
I didn't think you liked him.
Oh, I was into him for a little bit when he first came out, and then I kind of just fell off of him.
It was like that for me.
Yeah, the thing with The Weeknd and even Don Toliver, which we'll talk about later, is I feel like they kind of do the same thing in a lot of their stuff, and so it's like I've heard this before.
Yeah. Well, it's like I mentioned before. It's that formula. Like he found a formula and it works. Stick to it. He hasn't lost. Like he hasn't missed.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms of success and sales and whatever.
No, that's true. I mean, for sure. But I mean, with this one, this is me going to the lyrics again, like hooking up with a girl and then using, I like the metaphors that he used about the ocean and its problems of like just standing in it, letting it drift over you and just kind of dealing with it. It's being in the present moment. I like that. Letting bad memories wash over like waves.
No, he's got some funny lines on this one too. He says, if you take your girl out, do you expect sex? If she takes her titties out, do you expect checks? First visit, I give her a pearl necklace. Dude, that's just funny.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, those are interesting questions. Like, if you take a girl on a date, do you expect to get sex? And then at the same time, if a girl takes her titties out, does she expect to get money for her doing that? It's almost like in that environment, you almost might expect those things to happen.
And especially with his position too, of like, I'm sure that's on the menu all the time.
But then he's like, "No, fuck that. I'm just gonna give you a pearl necklace
and leave." Bye. But and then waking up from that. So
wait, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. He's got something to say.
All right, say it. All right, this is for like the past 3 songs. I kind of just want to update.
Yeah.
So the way I took this album is from Stop Trying to Be God to Waking Up. If that's what we're about to get into. I think of, what is it? Stop Trying to Be God is like the mental prep, like stop trying to be God, like you're not God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I literally think of like this roller coaster kind of like touching down, like, you know, with the plane, like, you know, like, oh, like, I'm excited when I land this plane, like, you know, I'm on my like get out my way move. That's no bystanders, right? Mm-hmm. And then once you like kind of, you know, get drunk or like, you know, get whatever, it's now like skeletons. And it's like this is like a very nostalgic moment. Like I'm really thinking right now. And I think of this as like a drug use. And then once you get into wake up, I don't know if you, like in the song, there's like this ambient noise of like someone talking, like, you know, saying something in the background. And it's someone like actually trying to wake up. Gotcha. And this is kind of what this is
how you interpret it.
Yeah.
This part of this section of the album,
right,
is like that. Yeah, I can see that.
I didn't even catch the person talking in the background, but I definitely hear it now. So I like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of these songs do have a lot of like little sounds in them. Like that you won't catch the first time you listen to it. There's like a lot of depth to it, but at the same time they don't take away from the song. They're not distracting. So like little voices in the background,
there's subtle
ambient noise, or like a little sound, or the ad libs. You won't catch all of them. They're like little nuggets to like go back and like look for.
They're subtle enough to, like you said, they don't take you away, but then they provide some key stuff in there later on where, as you're going along this journey, this experience, this story that they add to it. So that's cool.
Yeah. So getting into the track "Wake Up," so he wakes up, but then, you know, is he waking up to just pussy? And is that?
I mean, that's what it seems to be. But I think the next track after that is 5% tip. I don't want to get like too far ahead.
No, we're good. We can transition.
But it's like, it's just the way I took it from me. I stopped trying to be God to this point. Now it's more of like a, you know, after him being like, you know, on drugs or like, you know, just being high, and then him kind of waking up to this point where it's like, this is like his clarity right now. Yeah. So that's when we get into, you know, and that's what I was saying earlier about 5% tent, Astro Thunder and NC-17. That's when we kind of get into that part.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't want to get like, you know, I don't want to go.
No, we're good. But I mean, because we'll keep going to match with your stuff too. But like with 5% tint, like if he's waking up and in this track, he's talking a lot about like someone's knocking my door. I got the M4 ready in case something happens. So like, how does that relate into, you know,
the paranoia? Whether that be like him still being high or like him just kind of just out of it. But this 5% tent is definitely the paranoia that he doesn't want, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. He's talking about people looking at him and being paranoid and going through that. And then he's also referencing, you know, doing drugs and having sex, like all those things that you do to kind of distract yourself from being paranoid. Right. Or just not wanting to feel that. But I also love the sample. It's the same sample that Goody Mob used.
Goody Mob, yep.
Yeah. That was a dope. At first, I was like, wait, where's that from? I just heard that. And I was like, oh shit, that's Goody Mob.
I'm gonna have to listen to that. I missed that.
My mom knew what it was when she heard it.
Really?
It's kind of crazy.
Damn. We did an episode on soul food. That was like one of our
it was like
first 10 episodes that we did.
Yeah.
Episode 8 or something like that.
It was nuts.
Yeah, that's cool. Mom listens to Goody Mob?
I think she did like back in the day, but
yeah, the album came out like 95.
Yeah, but I don't know. She's kind of just on her John Legend type music.
John Legend's cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's cool. He's cool. Like, he's cool. Yeah, he's cool. It's just like it's not like that.
I haven't listened to a lot of the stuff since Legend, but you know, he's still up there for me.
John Legend, for me, he's good for a feature. I'm not trying to like go into his
deep into like his album.
Yeah.
Matt, have you listened to Legend though?
I don't think so. No.
Oh. No, have you listened to Legend?
Nope.
Tell your mom to put it on. Matt, we gotta put that on the list then. Because Legend's a dope album. That's a good one. But yeah. Anyways. NC-17, kind of going along with your story thing. NC-17, used in the movie industry for no children under 17.
Yep.
In this one, he's talking about a chick.
Sexual desires.
Okay. Got it. And he's definitely talking about that. Fucking with his chain on. Girl brought. I like his kind of play on words with the someone. So like, she like I think the first time he says it, it's referencing her like she's kind of like one of the gang. She's one of the dudes. Like I really click with her. And then the second time he brings it up, like yeah, she's bringing someone else or someone with her that's the same sex. And it's like, all right, we're about to do a threesome. We're about to have some fun and do this thing. And then the lines from 21 Savage.
Oh man, I already know what it is.
I thought it was funny. It's that on her cheek and called her baby face. That's disrespectful. That's rude.
Yeah, that was the saving grace to 21 Savage's verse, in my opinion. I wasn't really digging his tone or his voice or his flow or anything. I don't think he really added anything to the song.
Man, it sounds like you're happy he got deported.
I mean, like me comparing it to, because he was on Birds in the Trap as well on the track Outside, and comparing that verse to like this verse, like you know he kind of stepped it up a little bit, and that's where it's like comparing it to the last verse that he did for Outside, it was like all right, I can listen to this, like it's better, but it's not something that I go back to the song to listen to.
Right.
But
yeah, it's a cool song. I really like the beat. I think it's dope. But yeah, I didn't get much else from the song besides what you already said.
Kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. And then so your story was leading up to Astro Thunder. I like the title, but I didn't write too much about this track though. But what were you saying was the lead up to this song?
So like 5% Tent was that was his paranoias and like what he doesn't want. NC-17 is his desires and what he does want. And then Astro Thunder is like this is what he needs. And when he's saying like when I got from like him saying it's distant, it's like this is something that he knows that he needs, but it's almost like it gets very claustrophobic for me like in that area right there. Like after Astro Thunder, it's just like and I feel that it is a claustrophobia, and not claustrophobia, but like being claustrophobic and knowing what you need and you don't have it.
Yeah, the lines he says, "Sin's controlling me, angels halos over me, I need blessings and my peace." So he's saying like in the moment I'm just giving into sins and I'm just giving into desires, but I need angels to look over me. I need peace in my life. Like he's aware of what he needs and what what will help him overall. But in the moment he's still giving in, to drugs and stuff like that.
It's funny because there's a lot of times where you and we write down the same lyrics. I had also put those ones down. So going into Yosemite, it's like, all right, Yosemite National Park, it's an awesome place. I don't know if y'all been camping there. It's like, that's a cool place.
Yeah. I love it. Brandon's like very literal. He wants the song title to match the lyrics in the song.
And like the weird part is like this whole album has just been a huge metaphor. So I'm just like.
Or have you been to Yosemite?
Yeah. Well, not recently, but a long time.
But I mean, when you first go and you have that experience of looking up at El Capitan, it's a crazy experience.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that he's titling this after that kind of experience of just seeing something so big and so like ancient in front of you. So that's what I'm assuming that like he's trying to get out of it, like the vibe.
I kind of got like this is more like when I heard this one, I thought it was more of like a real. It's like a reality, like just like this is like as real as he can be. Like this is like especially with the hook. He said like ice on my neck, fall spaghetti, like hop on a jet, barely get rest. This is just like this is real. This is just how it is. Like this is home to me.
Right.
Compared to everyone else, like sleeping in our bed, compared to like sleeping in different beds like every night.
Right. Yeah, going home every night, knowing where you're gonna be, knowing your what kind of people you're gonna be around. But with him, if he's constantly on the go, it's like you don't know what the energy is gonna be like when you get there. Or who you're gonna be around. You don't really have control over it.
Let's see if I got this next one with Can't Say, because I kind of like a blanket thing of this track was like in behavior work you call it self-regulation. So if you get upset, what do you do when you're upset? Maybe you go to your room, you listen to some music, but you do something to bring yourself back down. So I kind of like when he was talking about, I can't say whether if I'm, smoking or whatever else. I read that as in no matter what he's doing, that's what he does to kind of get in his element. So if he's pissed off, if he's had a bad day, if he's having a great time, like this is just what he does. And so you can't really tell like what kind of feel he's doing. So I guess if I'm going to use my imagination related to the album as well, it's like we've gone through all these things that he goes through of getting ready for a show, doing a drug use, whatever else, but this is what he does. Like as detrimental as it can be, it's also like his soothing, how he calms himself down at the same time.
That's exactly what I got from it.
Yeah. I thought Don Toliver was dope on this.
Yeah.
I thought he killed the hook. And I've heard him on other songs. I haven't really listened to any of his solo stuff, but he sounds really dope.
This was, I think this was like his first like really big
his
song.
introduction.
Yeah, and I know that like for example, Travis put on Sheck Wes, and Sheck Wes like he's cool. Like, have you guys heard like his music? Sheck Wes is like, he was like a one-hit wonder. And then like seeing him like put on Don Toliver, like this is someone who could actually stick. Like, this is someone who can hang. And it was like a breath of like fresh air, like hearing like someone new and someone who's actually pretty solid. So.
Yeah, it's someone new, but also someone that adds something different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he comes in and adds like a totally different style, especially his singing. He's got a really unique voice.
Who what?
Who what? You tell me.
Well, I was gonna see if you'd be like Don Toliver, but nah. So track 14, Who What? I don't know.
Featuring Quavo and Takeoff.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
like
from Migos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked Travis's lines. He says, "No, she keep an open mouth and open mind. I don't open up her door, she open mine. I need less stress and I need more thighs." I just thought that was pretty clever, funny. But he's talking himself up. He's just saying like the girl's gonna open the door for me. I need less stress and just more like PYT or TLC.
Tender
like
loving care.
Yeah, like because I'm sure he's feeling the stress of being with Kylie or whatever, dealing with that, and then he's like, I need less stress and more just connection.
I couldn't find anything like deep to really put. I couldn't really come up with an explanation like for this track and like why it is. I thought of it more as like a filler track.
Yeah,
and
something to have the Migos on.
Yeah, and this is like, I feel like that could have been what it just was, like because just before Astroworld he dropped Huncho Jack with Quavo,
right.
And how would Travis look if he drops this phenomenal project and he didn't put Migos on it,
Right.
So
so you got to fit them in there.
That's how
it could have been, and this could have been a Migos song, and he just took it and he's like, all right, I'm gonna put this on my project.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what Wake Up was.
Right.
That was a Weekend song.
Okay, and he's like, all right, let's put this on mine.
Kind of saw this one as like we're about to go smash on someone, and then also talking about being trained with the Uzi. So kind of like, I don't know if it's a build of no matter what, we're always ready to handle some business, no matter who it is or what it's about. But that's kind of my guess. But I feel like all of my stuff is a guess at this point. So speaking of guesses with Butterfly Effect, I don't have anything for this track.
You don't?
I love this beat.
I do too.
I thought this was a fire. Same thing for me though. Like I thought it could have been a little bit less auto-tune.
Yeah.
For me. But he's talking about these one lines. He says, "Hidden hills deep off in the main, M&M sweet like candy canes. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang." He's referencing Hidden Hills, which is in Calabasas, kind of near where I grew up, so I kind of know that area. Super nice. I can imagine how nice their houses are up there. But he's also referencing like, taking M&Ms, which I guess would be, I don't know, pills, some kind of drug like MDMA or ecstasy or something.
I think he's just talking about candy.
No.
For these kids, he's
So
talking about candy.
I'm guessing he's talking about being in, at Kanye's house or something and just doing drugs and just experiencing that, being that lifestyle.
I feel like the way that I took the album and like kind of this song being placed in where it is, I looked at it as if this is more of like an optimistic way of looking at things, and like you know, for this life I can't change. Like this is who I am. This is who I will be, and this is. I would say I looked at it more as of like a happier feeling to it, rather than you know being sad about like this is.
Yeah,
you know?
it's not a depressing album at all.
Yeah, no.
Even though the content, if he changed the sound of it, could have been that. But yeah, it's definitely more of an uplifting vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. As opposed to like, I don't know who you can compare him to that would make more depressing music. I feel like Post Malone does that sometimes, where he makes music that's a little bit more emotional and like more depressing, and people will connect to that as well. But yeah, this one's definitely not that.
I wouldn't say it's sad because like it's like very upbeat and like up tempo like do the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like one of those things where rappers would be like, oh, like my cat just died or something like that, and they're like super amped about it, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's like a dope beat behind saying. Like
yeah,
that.
and it's like, okay, like are you sad about it or are you just like, you know?
Yeah.
And there are some like touchy moments in here where like you can tell like this is emotional.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially when we get to the last song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta go through Houston Fornication.
Yeah.
Houston
First we get into
Fornication.
Houston Fornication.
Well, it's funny because he mentions the butterfly effect in this track, but it's not. I mean, when I think of the butterfly effect, I think of it as like, oh, if you, I don't know, kill a butterfly, it can impact the future in certain ways, right? But when he references it, he's talking about just being hard to catch. And so I thought that was, I don't know, that's what I got for butterfly effect when I listened to Houston Fornication. But I don't know, I put down like you get a glimpse of them building a life and putting his family in, but then kind of just it not really working out and kind of falling apart just from like everything that comes with fame and things like that.
And he's also referencing his hometown a lot, like going back to Houston and just, you know, being with his family there, just away from everything, going back to his hometown, his roots, and just being comfortable for a little bit. It's almost like a vacation for him to go to his hometown.
I thought it was kind of funny, like not really funny, but like, if you guys heard the song Antidote, don't you open up that window, don't you land up that antidote. So this is like his first single that like everyone did, like this is how he blew up, Antidote. And he was talking about, you know, not letting out the ventilation, like, you know, keep the smoke in, like hotbox, right? And it's just crazy how, you know, 2 years, 3 years later, he's talking about, I need ventilation, you know, I need a break and stuff like this.
Right. Yeah. It's like almost coming full circle, or he manifested that.
Yeah.
Like of it turning around on him. Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. That makes a lot I like the drawing back from all the albums. And that's one of the drawbacks of like if you grow up a fan and you just like this is my intro to
Yeah, we're just coming into the middle of his career, you know.
It kind of makes you feel like, you know, watching like the fourth Harry Potter movie where it's like, oh, maybe I should have watched the other three.
Right, exactly.
But then we end with Coffee Bean. And I was gonna ask you guys if you felt like from Houston Fornication to this one, if you see kind of it going downhill of him bringing up things impacted by fame. So like he mentions like divorce court and getting stressed over things like, I don't know, figuring out time between where the kids are going to spend their time and stuff, and just getting caught up.
What I got from this is actually one of my favorite songs on the album, because the lyricism's great and he's being vulnerable and he's talking a lot about personal things in a more in-depth way. Whereas he mentioned throughout the album things, being vulnerable or just insights to his life, but he didn't go in depth to it. And this is the only song where he actually goes in depth with a lot of stuff. So I really enjoyed that. But this song I can imagine him standing in line at Coffee Bean and just in his mind, just being depressed or just thinking about all these things while he's in line. Everything that he's dealing with, especially with the Kardashians and just where he is in life. And, you know, he's just standing in line at Coffee Bean waiting to get coffee. And it's like it's kind of an interesting place to have all those thoughts. Like you're surrounded by people, but you're in your own head by yourself, just kind of like lost there.
And everyone kind of just looks at you like, oh, you know.
Right. Yeah, like they don't know what's going on in your life. They have no idea all the shit that you're going through.
Yeah, I feel that.
I really enjoy that song.
Yeah.
I do like the beat on that too.
It's I don't know, just listening to it and kind of just trying to relate, even though I can't really relate. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it fits the vibe. If you're not having a good day and you listen to Coffee Bean, it's like, man, like, we got Travis right next to me, kind of,
Right. Yeah,
like
if he's going through crazy shit on that level, like I can get by on my stuff too. If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Yeah. It's so I thought it was an interesting way to end the album. I'm trying to picture in my mind, what would this song be in the amusement park? Would it be you walking out at the end? It's nighttime, and you've had so many highs of going on all these rides and hanging out with your friends or whatever, and then you have to leave and go home. So it's almost kind of depressing. Like, oh man, it's kind of sad. I gotta.
Which is accurate.
Right.
Leave Disneyland. You just got off of Indiana Jones, and you have to go home. Like that sucks. So.
Yeah. But you could leave on a high. Like you could be amped up after you just had a great day and went on all these rides.
Yeah, but then you're leaving. You're leaving, going home. Like,
yeah,
that sucks.
I mean, I think of it as up like Houston Fornication, where he's like, I might need me some ventilation. Like I need to go. Mm-hmm. That's probably like you waiting in line for like the last ride, and you guys are like kind of packing it up. So like Coffee Bean, it would be like all right, we're out.
You're standing in line for the last ride. Maybe it's not even that exciting of a ride, but
you're just there.
Yeah, you're there. You're like, oh, this is the only ride I haven't been on today, so I'm gonna go on this one. And then you start thinking about shit in line. You start thinking about life.
Coffee Bean. That's Coffee Bean.
Yeah, so that's the album.
That's the album right there.
Yeah, it was definitely different than what I thought it was gonna be. Because I went into it with no expectations, just an idea of what I thought Travis Scott was and what kind of music he made. But it surprised me. Like I think he did a lot of things in here that I didn't expect him to.
I think, Niall, when you said in the beginning that like you going in knowing that this isn't going to be a lyrical thing and not to expect that, I think that resonated with me a little bit of like, this is my first time really giving him a listen. But if I'm doing that with every artist, this is one that you shouldn't really do that with. And so I kind of get the feel that Travis Scott is just a lot of like, he's to me like a vibe artist.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting out all these sounds, I'm putting things here and there, but like I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but a lot of it you don't necessarily need. Like there's gonna be one piece in there that I want you to hear, but don't worry about the rest. And I feel like especially for younger listeners or just people that just want to hear something, like this would be it. Of like I don't want to dissect a bunch of stuff.
I think this is like the perfect way to put out music, especially in this newer generation with younger people. Our attention spans are so small.
Yeah.
You got 10, 15 seconds to catch someone's attention. Mm-hmm. So like you said, if he's only putting one line that you really need to know, but the rest of it is just, not filler lines, but just songs to fit or words to fit the vibe of the song, then it's okay. Not every single line needs to match up with the theme of the song or have a meaning behind it or double entendre or whatever.
Yeah, and I saw that with DaBaby as well. That's why I first noticed it, where, growing up with music, you're used to this steady thing of like verse, chorus.
Right.
And that's how you
end
it.
And this is not that.
And this isn't that. And like with he and and DaBaby is that like they'll do one verse and then they'll repeat the chorus like 4 times.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when we were talking about a couple pods ago of like, what do you think about 2 verses as opposed to 3? And we were talking about how people don't really have the attention span anymore. Right. But like if you put in that verse and then just repeat something, so you're getting the same thing over.
Yeah. What do you think about when you're making music? Are you thinking about the listener's attention spans and how long the song is or how long the chorus is, things like that?
No, because I know that the people that have listened to my music, I feel like they already know that I'm not going to come out with something that's like, like popcorn era, like you need your music now. I'm not going to give you something that's you can like not like just zone out to it. I like to make something that you can actually listen to and really like think about it, chew on it, and like digest it.
Right.
And that's just, there's the way to do it is people do just make bangers and like that's that. But I just personally don't like that route of going about it. Yeah,
because like you referenced DaBaby, put himself in a position where he has to release 2 or 3 projects a year to maintain his momentum.
Yeah.
He's not the type of artist that can disappear like a Kendrick for 6 years and then drop an album. Everyone's gonna digest it and they're waiting for it. DaBaby doesn't make that type of music where you can digest his project for a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's digested for a week and then you move on.
Because everything gets played out.
Yeah.
You know, like you hear the same lyrics, like the same hook, like, you know, so many times in a song, and it's like, all right, you're over it like the 5th time of hearing it, you know?
Right. Yeah. But going back to Travis Scott, he does a good job of not letting it be stale or repetitive.
Yeah.
You know, he changes up the beat, or he changes up the chorus or the hook,
or the track is short enough.
He has like
to
a pre-chorus, and you know, he mixes it up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you can go back into like a Travis song and just kind of pay attention to, and it'll be different the entire time. Like, for example, on No Bystanders, like you can go through listening to what he's saying, and then like, you know, the second time around you can go through like and really pay attention to the beat or like certain things in the beat, and the beat changes. Like the beat is it's not constant.
Right.
And even though it sounds the same, there's a lot of things moving and there's a lot of things changing it, and it's like, you know, not that many artists think about this. Like DaBaby, it's the same, you know, bass line, same 808s, and
Right.
it's not like that with Travis.
Yeah, I think he puts more thought into it, and he probably takes more time into each song than just, okay, give me a beat, I'm gonna rap over it and sing it back, and that'll be that. You know, he's trying to construct something, which is cool. I really dig it.
So, now who are you playing this album for? When are you playing it?
When?
When and for who?
Anytime I get in the car, I play at least one song from this album. And I even told Pops about it. I'm like, you know, Travis Scott is, you know, phenomenal. And people actually thought I was crazy before he dropped this album. In high school, like people would like laugh at me, like, oh, you're like the, you know, a weird Travis Scott fan, like you're like obsessed with him, and
The Travis Scott stain.
yeah, and I'm just like, all right, cool, like whatever, like you'll see one day. And next thing you know, he drops Astroworld, and everybody's his fan. It's like, oh man, did you listen to that Travis album? It's like, I've been on this, you know. Yeah. And it's just crazy to see what he's doing now, and it's just like, I told you guys like way back before he dropped Astroworld that this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you know, but everyone I run into who, you know, Astroworld, this is my favorite, second favorite album. Birds in the Trap is number 1, but Astroworld is his best. Like, you know, this is something that
It's like his most complete project.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Or it's like the most cohesive overall project. So,
Matt, you playing? Did it make the rotation?
for me, this is gonna be when I'm at like a party at someone's house or something, and you just want to put on like a fun vibe, and maybe you're with younger people, and you can put this on, and everyone will think it's dope. Like everyone will vibe with it. You're not gonna get any side eyes from it. Unless I'm at Brandon's house, I probably wouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely that type of music for me. I'd have to be in that environment. I don't think I would play this for myself, like in the car. I'd have to be with other people to play with them.
I think there's a move for it. I definitely, like, Sicko Mode is one of those that I listen to when I go for a run and stuff like that. So there's definitely elements that I would take from it. But after this, I'll probably give it a few more listens because I need to
Digest everything we said.
I need to come down a little bit and really give it a listen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if you listen to more of our episodes, we definitely are. You get a sense of our music taste, and it's definitely more lyric driven and more traditional hip hop. 90s style, where it's just bars for days.
I feel that,
and that's more where we're coming from. Like because I grew up listening to Eric B and Rakim and artists like that, where it's just like metaphors and bars, and you're deciphering lyrics and things like that, and it's break beats and stuff like that. So
this is not
this is
not
totally
that whatsoever. Yeah.
I sent him a Saw Rock. To listen to. I was like, yo, we just did this. It's not out yet, but so I was curious what you had thought of that. So, because I thought we've referenced it a little bit, but we ended up not. But that one I was just like, oh shit, like I need to slow this down, read everything, really break it down.
Right, that's the type of album that like we'll get really excited for, because first of all, she's a female and she's spitting dope bars and they're really dense. So you have to read everything to get out of it. You can't just listen to it. Like, you got to understand her lyrics to really, understand where she's coming from. But at the same time, I like this type of music too, just for, for getting something different and listening to what the new wave is and understanding where hip hop is going or where music is going in general. It's good to listen to this to have an understanding of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see the other side of the fence.
You can't live in the past. Like, you can't live in the 90s. You're like, oh, that's the only music I listen to. Like, I only want backpacker hip hop.
Got to open up, but got to be diverse.
Yeah.
And everything. So, but yeah, y'all. That's Travis Scott. That's Yaboi Nilo.
Yes.
Cover those two.
Yeah, go check them out. What's your socials?
You can find me on any platform: Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, Apple Music. Yaboi Nilo, YABOI NILO.
Dope.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Go check them out. Then you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Amazon. So all those places you can find us.
We'll be there. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you guys for having me. It was actually pretty
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
That was dope.
All right. Peace.